Beautiful morning, sunrise. Good morning. There's a sunrise in this room. Beautiful morning sunrise. And it's such a pleasure to see everybody. And to know that we have God here in our midst. Do you feel God?
Yes.
No, it doesn't sound like that. Do you feel God?
Yes.
Still, you don't feel like it. Do you feel God?
Yes.
Absolutely. We're so happy, Heavenly Parent, true parents, that you're here. This morning I pray because I recognize that our parents are always, our Heavenly Parent, our true parents, are always where we are. The kingdom of heaven, true parents said, is where blessed central families are gathered. You know, so God is here. I just wanted to, reflect on something that came out in the reading this morning. People may sing of their prosperity and joy because of the happy lives they led on earth, but those things all pass away. And then it says, here there is something that remains for those of us who led their entire lives focused on a certain mission. What is it? It is not about circumstances, but a heart that can dominate any circumstances. A heart that can dominate any circumstances. So the last time when Reverend Sato gave her sermon, telling us about, moving into childhood and what it means and what it feels like, and we're coming out of the wilderness. She compared it to the story of Joshua and Caleb leading the Israelites into the land of Canaan. And how they were so used to being in the desert, it became, it's an adjustment, let's say. It's an adjustment to going to the new land and have a new experience. And but the success of Joshua and Caleb was because of their attitude towards the mission. They saw the mission not from their own circumstances, but from God's point of view. They didn't just think of it in the context of my life, as the reading says, either their prosperities or it wasn't any of that, or the difficulties or suffering. It was this unconditional heart towards God. And so, when everyone was seeing that the city could not be defeated and there were giants and whatever else, Joshua and Caleb saw, hey, this is an opportune, victorious moment. So that's our need for God right there explained. When we see things from the circumstances of God, our eyes see everything differently. And that's why there's sunshine in this room. Because we're seeing it right now from God's perspective, not from our own. We're not just people in a room. We're the sunshine of the United States. Amen? Yes. And then Pastor Manoj last week gave his sermon talking about, starting our new year with God. Beginning our new year, putting God first, prioritizing the correct way. He was very practical. He gave a moving story, his own personal experience, and really how we should look at others, how we should really appreciate others, He encouraged us to recognize other people's capacity, realize that God created us for each other. And he said, when we avoid people, we are avoiding God. And those points and putting God first really, it's, rang through my heart about, how much those circumstances that True Father talked about could be a block in our lives. Whether we think they're good things or bad things. Because it's not the circumstances, it's the heart. It's the heart that can dominate the circumstances, right? So today we want to talk about something, we're not just starting the new year with God. We're going to enjoy the new year with God. Okay. Enjoy living with God. A new year resolution. Let's make this our resolution, that we're going to enjoy living based on the understanding Reverend Sato gave us, that we've moved into channel group, not from our own perspective, but from God's perspective. And the tips Pastor Manoj gave us, that how we should really relate in this era of channel group. And for those who are guests, channel group for us means kingdom of heaven, simply put. But now we're going to talk about enjoying that. Are we in the wilderness still connected to that stuff? No. Everybody say no. No way. We're not in the wilderness connected to any of that. So we are in a new era, and we want to feel like we're there, and we want to enjoy being there. And we want to, make this enjoyment a moment, not just a daily experience, a moment-to-moment experience. Every moment, enjoy living with our Heavenly Parent. So, I wanted to look a little bit at the reading, I picked out the points in the reading about what is said about our Heavenly Parent. For us to enjoy living a life with God, we have to understand what our true parents are telling us about God. So it says in reading that God is not a fantasy. God is not a conceptual God. It's not just a God who's thinking up great things. God is not an abstract God, way up in the sky. God is not even just receiving our attendance. We come to church. We feel like we're attending God. Is this what God is all about? Just coming to church and receiving our attendance or tithe or rituals? And God is not removed from us. I like that one. I like the fact that God is not removed. But sadly, God is also not free. True parents of Reverend and Mrs. Sunday Moon have raised us to understand the suffering heart of our Heavenly Parent. And the suffering heart of our Heavenly Parent keeps Heavenly Parent from being free. Because God is not a God who just wants a few of us. He wants all of us. So what is God's situation? God is always with us. He's a leader of our daily lives. He's living together with us and sharing our lives. He's someone we need more desperately than water or air. And I'm happy to tell my son Michael that God is more precious than meals. God is the center of the universe and the fountain of happiness. Let's see a smile on everybody's face. Smile and mean it, feel it inside. I love laughter. I've always loved laughter. If anything can make you feel good when you're down and out, it's a good laugh. is laughter so beautiful? It's because it's that period when we're enjoying. We're enjoying a moment, you know. So, our God who is not free wants to enjoy life with us, meaning wants to feel whatever we feel that makes us laugh. That, I mean a genuine laugh, because we know there are all kinds of laughters, right? We're talking about the genuine laughter. You know, that thing we feel inside, it feels so good, you want more of it. When you hear a good joke, you want 10 more, right? But I'm not talking about the content of the joke. I'm talking about feeling inside, the heart, to dominate the circumstances, our true parents said. We want more of that. So, let us now look at what is our circumstances, according to the readings this morning. It says, let's look at what we are first. Messy with complicated lives. Created to be God's object of love. We're under Satan's influence. Accused by Satan. We're just living a life of faith. But we are to become God's body. Only when we become that one body with God can we erase this devilish world. The Bible says, do you not know that you're God's temple and God's Spirit dwells with you? And our Lord Jesus said, I'm in the Father and He in me and I in you, and we're one. You know, the oneness of joy. It's not just the oneness of, I become this great person. I become this, outstanding external qualification person. It's not that. It's the oneness of joy and heart and love. So, because we're of what we are, we ended up being not happy. Not God's children. And when we're not happy, and when we're not God's children, guess what? It's very hard to attend God. It's very hard to feel God's presence. Our sister, Irene Cesal, and I were just having a conversation about how such negativity exists in work environments, and such infectious negativity. Often people dragging each other down. We were specifically talking about schools and how the teachers sometimes are so negative to each other and about each other that the children reflect the negativity. So this is why we cannot afford to not be happy. Because when we are enjoying a life with God, that becomes infectious. Other people can enjoy a life with God. It's not just going to be the negativity that stirs. God does not have anything to do with evil. If not, God is no longer God. God will not leave his position of a God of true love. Will never. It doesn't matter how long, how hard. Same standard our true parents have. No matter what they're going through. No matter how difficult this path has been. And in all the readings I've done for my 100K and whatever, I've come to see one thing that stands out solidly and strongly. Is Father saying, I belong to God. I belong to God. And because of this, it didn't matter if they tortured him 7 times, they beat him down 1,000,000 times, if the media chastised, the media, slipped out, criticized, and tried to destroy the image of true Father. He didn't care. He belonged to God. And God feels the same way about Satan. Something came to me the other day. Satan didn't know the love of God. Didn't have the experience of God's true love because he was growing to perfection. Right? And all he had to do was attend God's children. So Satan never was able to experience the true love of God. So he only felt like, the greatness of God. This greatness, creating. He felt like God is all about greatness. And so what are the things the true parents say we should keep ourselves free from? Knowledge. Can you remember the other two? Money. Power. Because those are like the objects. The internal, inner part of God is heart and love. That's what was important. We cannot have, with all the greatness of the world, all the advanced technology, we cannot tolerate each other. We kill our brothers easily. This is the reality, painful reality. How can people so great kill so easily? It's because we don't have heart and love. And when we don't have that, we cannot enjoy a life with God. I'm talking about we as a world, right? But I want to give you the great big news. We are different. We here are different, right? We have come beyond Canaan. We've come beyond anything in history. Based on who? Our beloved true parents. Beyond anything. They've raised our awareness of God beyond anything. And so because we are in that position, we are in such a great position to directly experience the love of heaven, the love of our heavenly parent, and engage in a relationship of love. So who cares if you don't have shoes? We've all been there. We all had a time when we didn't have the shoes, right? A pair of shoes. If you were ever an MFT, you would know that. We were all wearing somebody else's clothes that had a hole somewhere in it. Yeah, we've all been through some things. But look where we are. Are we dead? Are we dead spiritually? We're in love. We're people in love with our God. So does it matter if we don't have shoes? So Mrs. Simon, does it matter if you don't live in a mansion? Okay, there we go. I don't care if I live in Newark. Yes, the kingdom of heaven, Jesus said, is in the midst of you. And so we can feel, we can walk down the street bare feet, and Father even said with no clothes. Not a nice prospect, but but we can feel and experience God in a way nobody else can. And so that's the main reason we should enjoy our lives with God. That's the number one reason. Because we are one with our true parents. Aren't we one with our true parents? So who cares if my sister doesn't speak well? Who cares if you're Japanese and you don't speak good English? I feel your heart. Who cares if you're African and you have an accent? I don't care. I am in love with my blessed true families, and God is in love with all of us, and we are one. So what do we have to do? Right? We have to enjoy everything. Enjoy this year. Make it a resolution to enjoy. So the other day I was looking up what enjoy means, it means to find pleasure in something and to have use or possession of. So it's easy to think I'll find pleasure, right? Now that sounds like enjoy. But when I saw the second meaning, I was like, oh no, it sounds kind of selfish. You want to possess something? But then I flipped that thought and I said, well, what about God? I want God to use or possess me. Oh my goodness, it's a beautiful thing. It has a good meaning. So, I think this part of the meaning was written for our Heavenly Parent. Let our Heavenly Parent use and possess us through this year. You know, the other day I got a ticket, thank God I was driving a government car. 77 and a 55, my goodness. And I said, oh, well, you know, the tickets are always depressing, right? Nobody wants to get a speeding ticket. But at that moment, I said to myself, well, God, oh, I got stopped. I didn't get a ticket, sorry. I said, well, dear God, you know I was going to serve somebody else. And I was so excited about going to serve this person, and I forgot to look at how I was driving. My husband doesn't agree with me. He thinks I speed normally. And the police officer then asked me, where were you going? And so I started telling him, I'm just going to see this patient, and you know, I really want to see him. He's had some heart condition. And he said, okay, drive carefully. 55 is the speed limit. You see, I felt that moment. I kid you not. I felt God came in the car with me. And he must have been smiling at that police officer. You know, because normally they don't care. They just, you know, give me your license and they give you the ticket. But this guy asked me, well, where were you headed? So, God should be with us even in the bathroom, true parents have said. We could go in there and have the most glorious thoughts. Oh, gee, you know, when I'm driving to work, I like to pray for people. And whoever comes to my mind first, very often I have a name dementia going on. I don't know who is, I see a face, but I don't know the name. And I say, Heavenly Parent, this person that I'm seeing in my mind, whatever is their circumstances, and you don't have to validate it, but whatever it is, be in their lives this moment, and for the whole week, and for the whole month, and for the whole year, and for the rest of their lives. You know, I want to do this. It happens with many of you in this room. It happens with brothers and sisters I know in foreign lands. It happens for people I know, patients, anyone. Because I feel I really want to find a way to share this thing I feel inside from my Heavenly Parent with my brother or sister. I really want to do that. You know, this is the nature. When we start enjoying, what happens? What happens when we start to enjoy love and feel love and experience love? A burst of creativity happens. A burst of creativity. I am forced to watch kids' movies, by force. And very often you see the evil Avenger. You know, half the movies I don't know the names, but there's always some evil element. The evil element is dark, depressed, miserable, and only creates more evil and destruction. And the good element is always fighting to maintain order. So I was reflecting on that, and I said, you know, in our world, this is what unhappiness looks like. Unhappiness, my grandmother used to say, misery loves company. You know, unhappiness begets unhappiness and more evil, right? If we enjoy life, what are we going to beget? What are we going to, in happiness, joy, we're going to bring more people here. Vision 2020 is going to look like nothing because we don't see it through our own perspective, like Reverend Sato said. We're going to see it from God's point of view. God is going to make it clear what our true mother is talking about. What is this Vision 2020 thing? What are we trying to accomplish here? And true mother is talking about happiness now. In New York, when they showed the video, when Reverend Youngby came spoke, in the video presentation, it was all about happiness. True mother encouraging us. Enjoy your life with God in the journey of God. Ladies and gentlemen, if anybody is sad today, if anybody's not enjoying today, let me know after service. I need to pray for you. We have too much blessing. I say it's a blessing of glory. Look at who we are. We are the children of God and true parents. That's it. So, there are pathways to happiness that could help us as we try to complete Vision 2020. Let's get creative. So we're enjoying, as we enjoy, we could get creative about Vision 2020. And this is my own little thing about the pathways. But we could get creative about this. I think our church symbol represents the symbol of happiness. So in my mind, I said, oh, you know, some of us come through the blessing. Some of us come through family. This is my life and faith experience. Some of us just came through church life. And some of us through tribal messiahship. You know, oh, my brother invited me, and so I know Peter always came. His brother invited him to the church, and he's here, right? Tribal messiahship. You know, I've known people who their whole families joined the church just because the whole family joined the church, right? I know people who are attracted. Oh, I'm going to get blessed to somebody different. Great. You know, and I know people who just like church life, who just love living a life of faith. And that's how we all came. And then we came in those arrows, we met true parents. True parents represent the circle of life, right? We met with them, we engrafted to them, and then we enter the place where there are even other, if we want to go in other directions in that square box, we could even change course. So I don't want to go through blessing, but maybe I could go through, you know, I'm not a blessing person. I'll get blessed, but I'm not, you know, it's not my thing, you know. But anyway, I'll get married, you know. And maybe I like service. So we go to one of those arrows that speaks service. Whatever it is all taking us to the center, God and true love. God and true love. So you could design your own for your family and design it with a plan to bring our brothers and sisters out of hell. Let us design it with a plan. Our pathways to happiness. That's how we're going to enjoy life this year. And put all those things Pastor Minot said into practice. You know. But remember, there is a beautiful goal. God and true love. According to one of my kids, it's like eating ice cream. It's all about food, right? So, that's the beautiful tasting experience we'll have when we hit the center. And we can walk anywhere and look at others and feel, oh my God, this homeless man, smelly on the street, this man, this woman, this violent, ugly child that's cussing in the neighborhood. That's a person that I could bring through this pathway. That's a person. This rich, arrogant, ugly, suppressive owner of this company, that's a person. I could bring it to the pathway. And they will come to the point where they too can enjoy living with God. Right? Absolutely. Let's create our own pathways to happiness. You know, regardless of who we're exposed to, we can bring everybody into the pathway of happiness. For sure, not many people may get excited about coming to our church. But I feel like what I call the persimmon theology of true parents, that we are each a branch of the persimmon tree that could be engrafted and could, this time it's not infect, but influence the lives of people out there, change those lives. And then happiness could become something where we're sharing on a daily basis. You know, I have a couple of co-workers getting married, and my first thought was, get them to the blessing. I realized they're so far away from that point. So what did I start doing? Every day I drive out with them, I talk about how to live a good life, a good married life. It's all principle, you know. And yeah, last week, one of the girls who was just 25 said to me, gosh, how did you learn all this stuff? How long have you been married? I wanted to say, girl, you don't know the journey, but... And then I attempted to tell her a little bit about my life of faith. She said, oh, I'm Jewish, I don't really go to church. I said, okay, but we'll keep this conversation going, you know? She's going to get more and more curious, and eventually, all right? So, I think I wanted to read something from something I feel is more like a pathway from Miki Saito. Miki went to Rwanda under WFWP, and she wrote her testimony after. She said, my decision to go to Rwanda was initially a purely impulsive one. I felt strongly urged, perhaps by God, despite my short visitation there. Rwanda has stayed with me until this day. As silly as it may sound, my visit to Africa saved me. During the time I spent in Rwanda, I was challenged to think beyond myself, and my view on life expanded beyond my previous state of self-absorption, superficiality, and materialism. I stayed at the Women's Federation for World Peace Center, teaching at the New Hope Technical Institute, a vocational school built by WFWP and volunteers, and the WFWP-sponsored orphanage. I gave lessons to the students in basic conversational English for about 40 days. So, what I saw in this brief testimony was that Nikki experienced a moment of enjoyment with God, you know, because it was not from her own point of view. It wasn't from her point of view. And it was a beautiful experience. I had the chance to listen to her whole testimony when she came back. And it was really heartfelt and beautiful. But it's not something you could say in words. And that is what enjoyment. enjoyment is not something we should be able to easily describe, but it's something that takes over the atmosphere and explodes. Explodes into creativity. You know, the creativity she had here was to give those basic conversational English lessons. You know, so I know John is going to explode with guitar things, you know, and different people with different talents will explode. You become very creative about how to open the pathway for our brothers and sisters who really desperately need to feel and enjoy God the way we do. So let us unite completely, artistically, and joyfully with our Heavenly Parent, with our true parents, and particularly the true Mother on Earth. And let's explode in our creativity to really let childhood spread, not just in this little building here or in our home, in our community, but everywhere, everywhere, right? Are we committed to enjoying life now?
Yes.
Absolutely yes. Are we committed?
Yes.
Let us make our true parents smile. I want the day, I often say, my only desire in life is to make God happy. And I mean it. It's my only desire. You know, I'll go through hell. But there are people who've been through more hell than me, so what? You know. But I still want to make God happy. All right. So, I want to do a little song of encouragement. I said before, Pastor Minogue said up here last week, oh, he wished he could sing. And I was thinking, oh my God, how desperate are people who want to sing, and I can sing and I don't sing. I want to sing. So I felt very guilty. And I said, okay, I'll sing a little bit. Wish I could have Irene's now sing with me, but anyway. I'll sing a little song to close. Song of encouragement for us to enjoy and spread our enjoyment. Actually, I'll sing another song. Just got inspired, so I'm changing. You spoke a word, and all the world came into order. You raised your hands, and planets filled the empty skies. You put a woman and a man in the garden, and though they felt compassion came into your eyes, ooh, Lord, I stand amazed at the wonder of your love. Still your greatest wonder bring me to my knees. Lord, I praise you because of who you are, not just for all the mighty things you have done. Oh Lord, I worship you because of who you are. You're the reason that I need to voice my praise because of who you are. One holy night, you sent your promise through parents, and promised too that you'd reveal your heart to us, and your in love displayed throughout their lives of virtue. You're the only one in heaven that we need. Oh Lord, I praise you because of who you are. Because